Just gonna add a touch of green here. Have another happy little green hill, yeah. Make that guy really stand out. And you know what? We're gonna switch to red now. I'm gonna have a happy little mushroom down here. Oh, hello friends. Sorry I didn't notice you there. You caught me playing one of my favorite games, and that's Mario Paint. Although the paintbrush here is not with a brush, but with a mouse. That aside, I've been wanting to talk about some games with you guys and gals, and I thought that I would reminisce about some good Halloween times I've liked to had. And for today's video, we're going to be talking all about the House of the Dead series. Now, the House of the Dead series traditionally is played with light guns. However, with HD TVs, you can't really enjoy that experience anymore. However, it seems that they have made an HD remake for the Switch. I'd like to give that a chance and let you guys know how it plays right now. Now this remake has a lot of options, but I will say that there are two ways to play this game, and I'm a little bit torn on to which one I prefer. On the one hand, you can move the reticle around with the joystick while pulling the trigger to shoot and the other trigger to reload. On the other hand, you can use the Joy-Cons like a light gun and point at your TV. Now the issue is option 1 is very sluggish and may be hard to hit monsters before they get to you, while option 2 is extremely inaccurate and hard to hit the enemies at all. On the whole, I like to stick with option 1 because it's more accurate. However, I definitely got hit more than I wanted to, only because I was not quick enough. That said, look at the wonderful colors and the wonderful graphics of this game. You have all kinds of beautiful reds and browns, a lot of browns, a lot of reds. I will say that the graphical update is nice, but it does leave a little bit to be desired in this next generation of consoles. On the whole, this is a fun experience, a good remake. Could be better, but you know, for the Switch, it isn't half bad. Now, House of the Dead 2 happens to be on the Dreamcast, and I have a way to play it on my CRT and with a light gun. The light gun with the Dreamcast, a little weird, right? Doesn't quite look like the light guns you're used to. Looks more like a Star Trek phaser. I have a theory as to why that is, but that's too depressing for this video. Let's see if this game still holds up today. Now we're on to the real deal. Light gun and a CRT television. I will say the gameplay for this is much better, even if it is graphically quite aged. For those of you who may or may not know, the voice acting is atrocious. Here's a couple examples.
Gee! Gary, I tried. Don't underestimate the enemy. Gary, take this.
Dogs of the AMS. Time they made a move.
But look at all them beautiful greens. It's a very nice game. Instead of red and brown, you get green and brown. And you know what? Green's just a happy color. Happy for me, happy for you. Keeping my personal nostalgia out of it, the graphics aren't half bad. I mean, they could be a lot better, like the remake really smoothed things out even though it wasn't too great. But I will say that for the time, this is really decent looking. And I will say that beyond the remake, this game's gameplay is 1000% better. The game itself, very easy to play. The light gun works very well on a CRT television. If you have a Dreamcast and a light gun and a CRT to enjoy all that on, I know it's a tall order, but you know, I can't recommend playing this game enough. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you know I like to share my knowledge with the world. And with that in mind, I have one more game I'd like to show you. Well, now you may be asking yourself, isn't this the same game you were just playing? Until you realize that the main character, well, he just looks a little bit different. All the monsters as well. They have a little more of a friendly attitude to them. No more weapons anymore. Now it's just fun things like ladles and toy hammers. This game is Typing of the Dead. It has the same horrible voice acting as the previous iteration. In fact, all they've done is change the gameplay to using a keyboard and change the weapons to being fun objects. Other than that, it's the same exact thing. I will say, this game is a lot of fun, and it is great for teaching typing. It has fast reaction time, and as you can see, the difficulty really ramps up per the level. Now the level itself starts off real easy. 2-letter words, some have numbers. Next thing you know, you're adding in apostrophes and dashes and hyphens, as well as longer words, and by the end of the game, you're typing full-out sentences. The only issue being, if you want to play this game on legitimate hardware, a Dreamcast keyboard in this game will set you back quite a bit. If you're liking what you're seeing, I highly recommend downloading a version of this game for the computer. I'm sure they're out there. Now, I didn't say that you should be using emulation, but maybe you should. One last thing I really enjoy about this is they did change 1 or 2 little things where you have these little bonus missions in the middle. Like this one, for instance, where you have to type 10 words before the timer runs out. Gives you a little bit of a challenge, but also really hones your typing skills. This is a game that's really meant for learning and having a good time. But like I said, don't take my word for it. This is a game that I highly recommend you play any way you can. You know, the Halloween season's upon us, but it does not mean that you cannot be making yourself a better, smarter person. Well, wasn't that just a wonderful and beautiful time? You know, it's days like this that really remind me of how much I enjoy this season and how Halloween is my favorite holiday. But hey, let me know what you guys thought down below. Have you played any of these games? Or now, would you be willing to play any of these games? I'd love to know your experiences, and I'd love to know your stories. And hey, that's going to do it for us today. Please, if you haven't subscribed, do. That would be fantastic. But as always, my friends, take it easy.